everyone. I've never done a video like this before actually, but I really wanted to do an anticipated release video. I did some research over the Christmas period just to see what books are coming out in 2024, and I made a big pre-order list on Blackwell's. So this is basically all the books that I'm excited for in 2024 that I've pre-ordered personally myself. So it's either a series I'm in the middle of, or it's authors I already love that are releasing new books, and I thought I would share it. So if you see me looking this way, I'm just looking at my laptop, like where I have all the info. What I think I might do is do this again in June or July and talk about the latter half, because I feel like with book releases, it is kind of obvious what's coming out in the first 6 months. The next 6 months are a little bit iffy. So yeah, I just thought I would share them and share when they're coming out and why I'm excited for them. So yeah, I'll just get straight into January. So I'm filming this currently on the 8th of January, I think. So tomorrow, actually on the 9th, Olivie Blake is coming out with the third book in the Atlas 6 series. So this will be the Atlas Complex. This will already be out by the time this video is out, but the Atlas 6 did the rounds, I think, on TikTok when it came out first. It was self-published, I believe, by Blake, and she had her own cover design. It got picked up by a publisher then. I think it got some edits, and then it got traditionally released, I think around 2021, I believe. The Atlas Paradox came out last year, so, and now we have the Atlas Complex that's coming out. So I actually haven't read book 2 yet, but I did read the Atlas 6 this year, or last year, 2023, and I quite enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I did like it enough that I will continue on. It was a really fun dark academia book. So in this world you have the Alexandrian Society. It's kind of a secret society that holds all the world's knowledge, like they hold all the secrets of the universe basically, and every decade 6 people are chosen to compete for 5 spots. So 5 people get a spot in the society, 1 person is eliminated. I have it here actually, I should probably show it. Here it is here. I got the trade paperback size. So in this world, and actually here's where I have a gripe, is I didn't realise that magic was kind of hidden. That wasn't very obvious. I think it was page 70 before I realised it wasn't everywhere and that it was kind of the norm. Bad world building aside, I still really enjoyed this book. I gave it a high 3. So like a 3.5. So the 6 people that are chosen are Libby and Nico. So they're kind of these academic rivals. They can control elemental power. You have Parisha, who can read people's thoughts, and you have Callum, who can manipulate people's thoughts. You've got Raina, who is like this Mother Nature type character. She can kind of control plants and life. And then you've got Tristan as well, and he can kind of see through illusions. He's the one where his power is still kind of a mystery to himself and he's trying to figure it out, and I feel like throughout the trilogy you'll probably figure out what he can do more and more, but he's definitely the most ambiguous power wise, I suppose. But yeah, I did really enjoy this. I think I was just slightly disappointed. I love trial based plots, I really enjoy them, where this wasn't really a trial, it was more just the 6 of them kind of studying at the society for the year and deciding between themselves who is kicked out. However, it was still really well done. I feel like some of the relationship dynamics between the 6 were really well done, and then some were a little bit weaker. But generally I felt like the ending of this book was very exciting. I really liked the plot twists in it, and I am excited to move on to the Atlas Paradox. So I will read that this month, I believe in January, and I'll move on to the Atlas Complex like really soon. I think I'm going to go book shopping on Wednesday, so I'll pick it up the day after it releases. So I'm sure other people will be kind of excited for that too. Something I learned about researching when books are going to be released is that Tuesday is book release day. I didn't realise that. So this Tuesday, the 16th of January, Alex Michaelides is coming out with The Fury. So he wrote The Silent Patient and he wrote The Maidens. I feel like The Silent Patient, it was generally a well-received book. I actually haven't read it. And then you have The Maidens as well, which I did read, and that got very mixed reviews. I feel like people loved it or hated it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the thriller aspect of it, even though I could see the pitfalls very glaringly. Still, I would still read his books as they come out. So this is coming out, I'm sure it will do well. So this book, the only thing I know about it is it's about an ex-movie star who's really reclusive. I think it's a she. I think she goes to this Greek island for a holiday with a group of her friends, and turns out there's a murder. So this does sound fun. I do enjoy books that are about celebrities, so like say a la Taylor Jenkins Reid, like those kind of books. So this does sound good. I love a good thriller, and I think the fact that it's set in a Greek island would be really interesting. Michaelides himself, I believe, is from Cyprus, so I'm sure he knows Greek islands really well. So yeah, I think if I feel like reading a thriller at any point, I'll definitely pick this up. Another book in January is on the 30th will be the next Crescent City book, so this will be House of Flame and Shadow, so the third book in the Crescent City series. I believe there's going to be, now this is me speculating, I believe there's going to be 4 books in this series because there's 4 houses. So we've had House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath, and this will be House of Flame and Shadow. I forget what the other house is, but there is 4, so I do think there'll be another book, but Maas hasn't said anything about that yet. I read House of Earth and Blood, the first book, over the Christmas period, and I adored it. I liked it far more than the ACOTAR series by the same author, and I still really enjoyed the ACOTAR series, but this is an urban fantasy, so it's really fun. You have every kind of character. You've got like fae, angels, shapeshifters, sprites, vampires, mermaids, everything, but they live in a city, so they have like nightclubs and museums and mobile phones and reality TV. So it's a really fun setting. First book is about Bryce, who is half fae, half human, and it's about her friend Danica, who is a wolf shapeshifter. She's supposed to be the next alpha of her pack, and they're kind of like these party girls who live in the city, and a tragic event happens and Bryce is kind of thrown into this kind of murder mystery plot. You have Hunt as well, so he's a slave more or less. He is an angel who was part of a rebellion, so his group of angels basically are all kind of enslaved now, and they're basically part of the policing system, so he's kind of assigned to watch over Bryce and help her with his murder mystery case. And I adored this book. I absolutely adored it. It was nearly a 5-star for me. I would say it was definitely 4.5. I think Maas can be a bit cringy sometimes, so I think it just knocked it for that little bit. So I really want to move on to Sky and Breath this month before Flame and Shadow, because I think I'd really like to just like stay in the world and really enjoy it. It was so twisty and unexpected. It was so light and happy, but also really dark and heavy, and I think that tonal shift was done really well. I think Maas is so good at writing characters that have gone through stuff really well, depicting kind of trauma really well. Like I feel like that's a real strength of hers as a writer. But I loved House of Earth and Blood, so I can't wait to move on to Sky and Breath, and I cannot wait for Flame and Shadow until it comes out. I definitely might have nearly cried at the end. Just excellent stuff, and I predict this is going to be a big book in 2024. I'll move on to February. So S.T. Gibson, who is the author of A Diary of Blood, she's coming out with another book called An Education in Malice, and that's coming out just before Valentine's on the 13th. And I believe this is actually set in the same world as A Diary of Blood. It's funny, on Goodreads, A Diary of Blood is shown as number 1 in a series, but An Education in Malice isn't shown that way. If you're aware of Goodreads, you know how they do that. So I don't think this is a sequel. I just think this is kind of set in the same universe, but I don't think you'll have to needed to read A Diary of Blood in order to read this. And I'm actually really intrigued about how this is going to be written, because A Diary of Blood was written as letters to an abuser. So it's about Dracula's wives. The main character is Constanta, and the writing style is her writing letters to and addressing Dracula. So I'd be quite intrigued to see how this is written and what style is going to be written in, because I'm assuming it's going to be very different. This book is apparently a dark academia novel that's set in Massachusetts in America, so I think it's set in at this kind of old college where our main character goes. It sounds like a fun kind of typical dark academia novel where there's like ceremonies for initiations and secret societies type stuff. So I think the main character is called Laura and her academic rival is Carmilla. I believe there's like a professor-student relationship in this story. I think it's their poetry professor who's obsessed with Carmilla. I don't know if it's reciprocated or not, but we shall see. And apparently this is about vampires as well, so that's fun. I don't know where the vampires will slot in with dark academia, but sign me up. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to be written though, especially as it's not a sequel but like set in the same universe as A Diary of Blood, so it'll be fun to see. So on the 20th of February, a book called My Throat an Open Grave is coming out, and this is by Tori Bovalino. There is a Bovalino, I hope I'm saying that correctly. So she actually wrote a book that's called The Devil Makes Three, and it was an Illumicrate book, so I feel like a lot of people maybe in the booktube space have heard of this book, and I read it like 2 years ago and I ended up really liking it, but I feel like this was mismarketed so badly, like really badly. It was marketed as a dark academia novel where it ended up just being a straight up way horror book that was actually quite gory. So it was a shock to the system when I read it. So it's a pity. I wish it was just marketed as a horror book rather than a dark academia book, because I think the only dark academia thing about it is that it's set in a library. So in The Devil Makes Three, you have a character called Tess, and she is working at the school's library because she has to pay her way through the school. And you have Elliot as well. He's an exchange student from, well, not exchange student, he's from England, and I think his dad is the principal of the school in America. So Elliot is a witch actually, and he's studying these grimoires to try and save his mother. Him and Tess accidentally open this grimoire that like unleashes bad stuff. They try to rectify their mistake basically, and it was really tender and sweet. I loved their dynamic and relationship, and the relationship Elliot has with his mother. So it is just a pity that I feel like it was just really mismarketed, and I feel like a lot of other people felt that way too. So I do want to give this author another go, because I feel like I didn't give her a good enough go that time. But anyway, she's coming out with a book called My Throat and Open Grave. Some of the premise sounds a little bit similar to The Devil Makes Three. So this is about Leah, and she kind of has to work her way through high school as well in order to support her brother. So she's teetering on leaving high school because she has to make money and help her brother, and she's finding it really hard to balance it all. So this book is actually quite magical and about music as well. So Owen is actually taken by the Lord of the Woods, so she has to actually write a song and face the dangers of the wood to win Owen back. It sounds really mythical and like heartfelt, so it does sound really, really good. There's two covers to this book, and one of them is like super creepy, and one of them is kind of, I think, dark with flowers on it. I pre-ordered, so I don't know what one I'm going to get, but I do want to see what this author has to offer, because I did quite enjoy The Devil Makes Three. It's just my expectations of it were different to what I read. I don't have anything for March. I'm going to jump straight to April actually. So on the 9th, we've got Leigh Bardugo's book, The Familiar, coming out. So I am so excited about this, because Leigh Bardugo is one of my favourite authors. She obviously wrote Ninth House and Hellbent, and she wrote the Grishaverse series, and Six of Crows is my ride or die book. I love it. I love how Leigh Bardugo does dialogue. I think she does dialogue really, really well. So this is a little bit different. It's a bit of a historical fantasy book and adult again, so like the Ninth House series. So this is set in Spain, and I think it's Lucia is the main character, and she uses her magic to get by. She's actually a servant in a manor. Her mistress kind of discovers her magic and kind of uses it to kind of gain attention for herself. So through this, the king's assistant finds out about Lucia and wants to use her abilities for himself. He's currently disgraced and wants to win the favour back of his king, especially as there's a war going on with the UK. And I think Lucia has to learn about magic and alchemy and science, so her notoriety kind of grows and grows. And there's another character in this, and he's immortal, and he's called a familiar. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's vampire-like. I have no clue. I'm going in blind, but I am reading this as soon as it comes out because it's Leigh Bardugo. So I think Bardugo does fantasy so well, so kind of seeing a historical adult fantasy will be fun to see how she does that. So a very different kind of book coming out, and everyone will know about this book, I feel, is Emily Henry's new book called Funny Stories. That's coming out the 23rd of April, just before summer. She always does the summer romance book. I'm not as well versed in Emily Henry as other people. I've only read You and Me on Vacation, or People We Meet on Vacation, which I did quite like. I think rom-coms aren't my thing. However, I will pick this up because it does sound kind of fun. So it is called Funny Story. So you have, I think it's Daphne. Daphne has an ex-fiance. He ran off with his childhood sweetheart, I think called Petra. Petra was also engaged to be married to someone else as well. Oh yeah, he's called Miles. So she actually teams up with Miles. I think they become roommates and I think they kind of team up to kind of make their lives a misery, I think. I don't know, do they fake date? I don't know if this is a fake dating book, but obviously I would say they fall for each other. But this is a opposites attract story as well. So Daphne is this like, I think really high strung librarian, and then Miles is this kind of like free spirit musician. So it sounds like a lot of fun. So, and I think out of all the premises of Emily Henry's books, this one sounds the most promising to me. So I think I will read it when it's released. So yeah, basically they decide to drunkenly send misleading photos online to kind of mess with their exes. And this is set in Michigan as well, in the States. So it does sound like a lot of fun, so I definitely will pick it up. So I'll move on to May. So if you have been following Rachel Smythe, she's this webtoon author, and she's come out with this series called Lower Olympus, which is kind of like this Hades and Persephone love story retelling. I only read volume 1 actually, but I adored it and I really want to keep going with it. But volume 6 is coming out on the 7th of May. This is a webtoon. Actually, you can read these on webtoons, but she's physically releasing them as well. It's just a really fun, like really funny, light-hearted webtoon, but also has dark themes to it though as well. It's a little bit of an urban fantasy as well, so you have all these kind of Greek gods. So yeah, if you're a fan of Greek mythology, you will enjoy this, and you don't need a knowledge of Greek mythology before going in this. Like, I kind of had a very basic level, but I think you would enjoy it a little bit more, but you definitely don't need Greek mythology knowledge in order to enjoy this story. But yeah, I only know volume 1, but I would really maybe like to get to the next volumes before volume 6 comes out. In volume 1 you only have like Hades and Persephone just meeting. He ends up kind of saving her from a spiked drink situation, so it was quite sweet and it was quite fun. But yeah, you can definitely see the darkness in it too, but very well done and really just on the ball with the humour. I think the comedic timing of this is excellent. St. Gibson again is coming out with a book in May. So on May 28th, she's coming out with Evocation, so she's going to have a busy year. This is a totally different story, nothing to do with the Diary of Blood world or universe. So this is about a psychic. I don't actually know what the main character's name is, but I know he's a psychic. He's kind of like had a very oppressed upbringing. His dad was very harsh on him. Once his father passes away, he actually curates a high life for himself as an attorney and also as a medium. And he does that kind of on the side in a secret society. So to have this high life, he's actually made a deal. Because of this deal, he has to ask his ex-boyfriend for help, and then his ex-boyfriend's wife, who he has to go through. It sounds interesting. Again, I'm going to wonder how this is going to be written. I'd say it'd be kind of typical first-person narrative book, I would say. But again, I'm interested with both Evocation and with An Education in Malice to see how they're going to be written and how differently they'll be written from A Diary of Blood. I should probably wrap this up now, it's getting dark outside. I have in August, we have Maureen Johnston's Death at Morning House coming out. That's coming out August 6th. There's no cover for this yet and there's no snippets or anything about it yet. So again, this will probably be something I'll revisit in the summer and see if it definitely is coming out in August. So Maureen Johnston obviously did the Truly Devious series, which was super popular. So apparently this is a YA contemporary and it's a mystery novel about this girl who finds herself living in this house which has a secret, and she becomes obsessed with the house. I think there's obviously dark, mysterious elements to this house, but we don't have much info apart from that. Again, this will probably be something I'll revisit in the summer and just see if there's any more news about it. But that's August 6th. As well, on August 20th, Wisteria by Adalyn Grace is coming out. So this will be the third book in the Belladonna series. So I think each Belladonna book is kind of a standalone with different characters, I believe. So I actually haven't read Foxglove yet, but I did read Belladonna. I really enjoyed it. So it's about Signa, who can cheat death basically, and whenever she cheats death, she sees death personified, and it's actually a murder mystery book. It's a romance book. I actually really enjoyed it, but I haven't read Foxglove, and I know Foxglove is about a different set of characters, and I'm assuming Wisteria will be as well. So I actually have no idea what this is going to be about, but I did really enjoy Belladonna, so I do want to get to Foxglove this year at some point, then be ready for Wisteria when it comes out in the latter half of this year. And the last book that I'm going to talk about, actually, and good job because it's getting dark outside, is Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. So this is coming out the 10th of September, and I actually think this was pushed from last year. I think this was supposed to come out in 2023, but it was pushed another year, I believe, don't quote me. But this is the fourth book in the Nevermore series, which I adore. The first book is about Morgan, who is a candidate to enter the Wondrous Society, and she's sponsored by this man called Juniper North, and he's not telling her why she's special. She doesn't know why she's special, and you're supposed to be special and have a special talent or have special magic about you to enter the society. So the whole book is about a series of trials she goes through to enter the society. It's really fun and I really do enjoy it, and it's a middle grade that absolutely anyone can enjoy. So Silverborn has been very anticipated. But yeah, hopefully this comes out on time this time, so hopefully it does come out this September. So yeah, that's all the books I've pre-ordered and all the books I'm really excited about in 2024. As I mentioned again, I will do an update of this video in the summertime, in like June or July time, and see if any of these do come out in the latter half of the year. I'll probably have more details on some of these books. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, I do anything book related on this channel, so anticipated releases like this one, TBRs, wrap-ups, reading vlogs, all that stuff. I'll link all these books mentioned in the description. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.